Hello, people. Welcome to the Creator of Bricks, and today I wanted to review the JLA wave minus one figure that I didn't pick up, which you don't really need to pick up to complete this wave, which is Aquaman. I didn't end up buying him because I don't have a place for him. All four of these guys I have a place for in my collection, but that Aquaman I just don't have a place for because I don't have a 90s Justice League nor an Aquaman shelf. But with like these guys, I have a Superman shelf, a Batman shelf, a Green Lantern shelf, and then he's going to go on my Justice League, the Plastic Man. So all these guys have a place in my collection. The Aquaman just doesn't have one in my collection, so I just opted not to buy him, and you don't need him to complete this unless you really want the arms for Plastic Man, the normal ones, but like, this is more fun having the stretchy arms. If you want to see all five, you're going to have to go somewhere else to see the Aquaman, but I am looking over 4 out of the 5 figures. Alright, so we're going to start off with accessories for the wave. So we have Batman, John Stewart, and Superman here. Superman doesn't match his card, but everyone else has said that already. And then we have John Stewart's first appearance. This is his first appearance from Green Lantern and Green Arrow, I believe. I don't remember which issue. I'll throw it up on the side here. And then we have Batman from JLA as well. I have not read JLA myself, but I am familiar with all the looks from the time in the 90s because I'm currently reading Superman Blue as homework right now for for this video, or was reading it, and so I know what Superman Blue is, but I wasn't too far off in terms of my reading because I've read Reign of the Superman recently and Death of Superman, so I wasn't too far off from this time, and I've read 90s Green Lantern, so I know what John looks like at this time, and it is not this one, it is the Mosaic John Stewart look. So interesting looks for Superman and John here. I mean, Superman did have this in the mid to late 90s, the mullet, nor did John look like this at the time either. He had the Mosaic costume. And then this, I'm not keeping up with Batman currently, or not currently, 30 years ago, but I'm not reading Batman currently, not yet anyway. For the 90s, I'm familiar with Nightfall, but past that, I'm not really too familiar with 90s Batman past Nightfall. This seems reasonable for the time, the black and yellow, but yeah, there's the 3 cards, and here's the backs if you want to see all 3 of the cards, minus Aquaman. And then for the accessories, for John Stewart, we have a little wispy effect right here. These effects are both from Red Hood, the Arkham Knight Red Hood, but they are very reasonable reuse here because they match with Green Lantern, Green Lanterns in general. So it's reasonable for them to throw these in, especially this effect. This is a very cool one for them to throw in, the little ring spiral is what I'm going to call it. I would have preferred a battery over this one though. This effect doesn't really do anything for me, but this one, I do like this one a lot. And then for Batman, we just get one accessory for him outside of the actual Build-A-Figure pieces. We have this little grapnel gun here, which is reused from 3 Jokers, which the entire figure is reused from 3 Jokers besides the paint job. And then for Superman Blue, you get 4 little lightning pieces. I'm not a big fan of the color of these. They look more blue because of my background, but they're really clear, I would say. And I'll show you that later when I get to the figure himself. Wish the color of these was more dark, maybe just a darker transparent blue, because these are really light, borderline just clear. Okay, so here's John Stewart. This is the newest version of John. We've only gotten, we've gotten 2 in the past. We've gotten the animated John Stewart, and then we've gotten 2 versions of the Rebirth John Stewart. Well, actually 3, because of the glow-in-the-dark, Endless Winter, and the solo release. So this is, our 5th John Stewart figure? So this one I do feel is good, though. It's one of the better John Stewart figures. Sorry for shoving his crotch in your face. But, yeah, I do really like this head sculpt, though. A lot of people were ragging on it, but, well, not a lot of people, just a few people I saw. But you can see there, I do like this head sculpt a lot. It does look very 90s in how it looks, and I am a fan of how it looks. And then you get the standard Green Lantern body that Todd likes to use besides one figure recently. But yeah, it has a very nice texture to it. Let me see if I can capture that on camera here. You can see that like knitted texture that I'm a real big fan of. The logo is printed on pretty well. There's no issues with the logo at all, which is good. That's something I've been liking recently, is no issues with the logos at all with how they're printed. But it is a weird logo, but it's trying to emulate Neil Adams' way of drawing the logos. Like right here on the card, you can see that it's very weirdly drawn right there too. So this isn't too far off from this, but it's a little more curved than on the card, but it's fine. And I appreciate how cool the effect pieces look on John. I'm not going to go over articulation because I've recently gone over the Kyle Rayner figure, so it's pretty much the same outside of that. Besides the head, I think the head has different movement, but here's how much you can move that head around right there. It goes 360 and gets a good amount of range from that. Here's two figures I wanted to compare John with, which is the Silver Age Hal Jordan and then the classic Kyle Rayner. So yeah, these two are using the same body, and I'm sure people wanted to see these two together because they're very similar style of suit, but they're different execution in terms of how McFarlane did them, because you have the classic logo here, and then a more stylized Neil Adams logo right here. And then this one doesn't have texture at all, and then this one does. I really would have preferred if they used this body for this figure and just put this logo on this figure, but yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this one recently. I did go review it, so if you want to see a review on the Silver Age Green Lantern, then I have a video up. And here's a head swap for anyone who wants to see what these characters look like on each other's bodies. I really, really do love the Hal Jordan head sculpt on this body. This is way better than this body. This one was fine, but just the Hal Jordan head on this body is superior in every way. If it just had the regular logo, I would buy another John Stewart figure just to have Hal Jordan like this. And I mean, the skin tone doesn't match, but I do have some skin tone or light skin tone paint that I could have done. So I would have bought two of these if it was the normal logo just to do this. And then I don't know what I would have done with the other body. I would have found something to do with it. But yeah, this is a really good looking Hal Jordan if you want to do that. It's better than this one actually. But like, you need this figure in order to get that head. So it's like, what, $50 in order to get a great Hal Jordan or an even better Hal Jordan. But like, it has the sculpted collar, which was a complaint I had about this one, and then texture, and then yeah, this one's just superior in my opinion. And I also almost forgot to show him with his accessories. So here's how they look on John. They do look cool. I'm just not a big fan of the wisp accessory, but the sort of ring power effect is really cool. So here's the next figure of the wave, and it is the JLA Batman. So this figure is my least favorite of the wave due to it having some issues. I've never personally had the Three Jokers figure, but yeah, this one has some issues that I haven't come across yet, so I'm going to go over them. I mean, he looks good like this. He looks fine when you have him in a kind of neutral kind of lighting here. But as soon as I turn the light on, you will see the blue paint that is all over Batman's cowl right here. And it looks terrible in person. It's not really showing up the best on camera, but trust me when I say it does, in fact, look incredibly bad in person. So you can see it right here on the cowl, and then the other side just doesn't have it at all, and that is just completely weird. It's also present on the gauntlets right here, on the boots, you can see it there, and then it's also present right next to the cowl on the cape, as you can see as well. So that is extremely weird. I don't know why they decided to do that, besides the fact that comics have shading, and I guess they wanted to emulate that for this Batman. But, you know, you can see a little bit on the forehead too. Oh, it is also present on the logo here. You can see that it has that weird, almost dirty blue, and it is weird. Also, not a fan of no paint on the rim of the logo. You can see how you have that ledge on the logo, but there's no black paint on the ridge of it, which is unfortunate. Another issue I have with this guy is the legs are just too long. This was an issue with another figure from the Three Jokers wave, the Batgirl, where she just had really, really long legs, and this is the precursor to the Hush body, so I really shouldn't be surprised, but yeah, these legs are definitely too long in proportion to the body. I'll go to posability now since I have not looked at this figure on my channel. If you want to see this, I'll put a timestamp for when this section ends, so yeah. For this Batman, he has the neck articulation at the bottom of the neck instead of at the upper neck around the mid part of the cowl. So he gets this much down and this much up. I'm sure you've seen this body before if you're familiar with McFarlane. And then gets this much back and then this much forward, so not too much going forward there. And then, well, he gets this much up with the arms, and then the bicep swivel goes around 360, so pretty good. Double jointed elbows go in that much, and then the pivots at the wrists don't do too much. They get like 3 clicks max, so 1, 2, 3, so that's all you get. And then you get the spinny. Then for the splits, you get this much. Double jointed ankles, get this much. And then at the ankles, you get 1, 2, not even 3 clicks. You get just 2 clicks at the ankle here, and then you get the toe joint. But yeah, the blue on this one is not very good, and I'm not a big fan of the way the logo is done either. I actually have the Nightfall Batman, and they've done better logo printing before, so this isn't great. And then here he is with the grapple gun. It fits in his hand rather snugly, actually, compared to other grapple guns I've gotten. Particularly the Arkham ones don't fit in everyone's hand very well, but this one actually does fit rather well, so it works. And I like to call this Batman Brooding Batman now. One cool thing you can do with this Batman, though, is put him in interrogation poses, which I can show you, actually. So yeah, here's an example of what I'm talking about. So I have Arkham Riddler here, and this Batman actually does hold up the figure pretty well. I'm not holding anything on him besides his cape, so I could actually show you this, but yeah, you can see how it holds it well, and then his arms are actually really strong. It doesn't like move around much or anything. Like it only come off if I really shake it. But yeah, the benefit of this Batman from how big the little prongs are is they actually fit into Arkham Riddler's hands, so he can get held up by Batman, and his arms are actually pretty stiff, so it helps keep the figure up. Combined with the back ab, helps balance it. So this Batman is pretty useful for that if you ever need to do some interrogation poses with your Batman. And actually, since I brought him out, here he is with Arkham Riddler. This is the only comparison I'm going to do for Batman, but yeah, this is how big the Arkham Riddler is compared to this Batman. This Batman is absolutely huge compared to him. Alright, and then for the second to last figure, Superman Blue. So, like I said earlier, I was doing some homework before this arrived in the mail. I read a solid, I think, 20 issues, like 25 issues of Superman Blue. So, the gist of Superman Blue, for anyone who doesn't know, is essentially after Superman comes back to life after the death of Superman, his powers start to act up, and he becomes pure energy. Lex Luthor gives him this suit to just hold himself together because he's kind of just all over the place as electricity. So it's essentially the gist of it. In that story, or in that run, he fights Metallo and he visits Kandor with Adam. It's Ray Palmer Adam, and it's a lot younger version of him too at the time. At least that's what I saw anyway. I think he was a part of the Titans and he was trying to join the Justice League. Anyway, there's some printing issues I'll go over while I'm here. So particularly, I think I got 2 arms that were printed, both trying to be the left arm. As you can see on the left arm here, you can see that this one goes inward more, and it goes to that curve, and then it has a similar thing here, and then on this side, it has a similar thing too. So I think I got, or at least well, it's not they're correct arms, but I think the printing is off. Where they're both left arms prints, but they're the correct arms. Just they're printed the wrong way. Something about this figure, though, that I do really like, looking at some positives, I really do like the head sculpt for Superman Blue. This is exactly how he looked in all of the artwork for Superman at the time, for Superman Blue anyway. It is extremely accurate with the pointed eyebrows, and yeah, it looks good. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention the little... They didn't quite print that part correctly there either, but it's not not too noticeable most of the time. But yeah, this head sculpt is extremely good. I'm a huge fan of this head sculpt. This is oddly one of the best Superman head sculpts they've done, and it's for Superman Blue. We'll go into posability real quick as well. So in terms of the head, it goes up that much, which is extremely good. Down is decent. Could go down more if I push it a little bit. That's pretty much all you get. Then for crunch is like borderline nothing right there. So that's unfortunate. Back's good though, combined with the neck, that creates an extremely good flight pose. Then for the arms, they move around a lot actually. They're very good. Bicep swivel is good, and it's 360. It does run into the, I'm not sure what this would be, but the rib cage, I suppose. Then the elbows go in all the way right there. And then for the hands, they get, let's see, 1, 2, 3.5, and then you get the twist as well. So splits are like that, and then up is extremely good. Oh god. I pushed it too much. Oh god. It didn't rip though. That's good. Sometimes when you push the diaper pieces there, they rip. But that one's good. Sometimes they'll rip. This one didn't though. But let me see if I can be a little more gentle with the leg here. Yeah, I really pushed it. But so you can get that much without it popping off. Like I just did. I made that thing fly. And then for the double joint there, you get that much. You do cut up the print right there a little bit, but that's fine. And then for the ankles, you get, so let's see. Well, here's 1 click, 2 click, 3 click, 4 click, 4.5 clicks is what I'll say. Then you get the toe pivot, or not toe pivot, the toe crunch, I guess, for right now. Very good articulation on Superman Blue, actually. Alright, and then here's the Page Puncher's Atom. This one I did paint up because I wasn't quite happy with the paint job. It was a really barren figure, but I wanted to spruce it up. And I think it looks cool the way I did it. But yeah, here they are together. Alright, and then the other person I wanted to compare him to was the regular Superman. So you can see here that they are using the same body, except this one is a slightly darker blue than this one. This is my favorite Superman figure currently. They haven't made a better one yet. Only issues are the big hands, which are still present on this one. They have giant hands, and then no yellow S on the cape. We need that. These two are very cool. Something I noticed though is the shoulders got a lot more broad. These ones stick out a lot more than the Page Puncher's Superman. Well, they're both Page Puncher's Superman, but you know what I mean. So what they did is they made a new torso, and the socket is a lot further out than this one. This one goes further in than on the Superman Blue. So I thought that was interesting. Just looking at this figure though, I can tell they're gonna try to milk the hell out of this body. Like, it is very plain, and yeah, I could see them definitely reusing the hell out of this. I could see maybe a Wally West Flash coming out of this body, even though they just did one. But I could see a Wally West on this body from the 90s. I think that would be a good one for them to use this for. But yeah, you can see like there's no sculpting besides like this little cloth line. Yeah, you can see how plain these feet are. They are extremely big, though. I don't know what it is with this body, but they keep giving it extremely big hands and big feet. Superman's got the size 14s on in men. The only improvements I think they need to make for this body to make it better is more crunch, smaller hands, and smaller feet. If they make those improvements, I think this is going to be a great new base body for DC Multiverse. And I do prefer this body over the Blue Beetle body. I think this is a lot better of a form. Oh, also remove the cufflinks too. So then for accessories, we get the lightning pieces, which I showed earlier, which suck. I hate these, but I did find a cool way to figure out how to, use them kind of coolly. So what you can do is so the lightning pieces have like this point to them. So what you could do is you could slide them in that little groove right there, and you can get the floating electricity kind of effect. Like right there, you can get some floating kind of electricity that's coming onto his shoulders, because a lot of the Superman Blue artwork has it predominantly on his shoulders and arms compared to like his feet and feet and everywhere else, like the Flash, for instance. But like you can do this, and then you can add the other electricity pieces, which I'll show you. So like that, you can. So what you could do is you could slide these bigger ones up the bicep first, and then you could slide the smaller ones through the shoulders. And I think it's pretty cool. This is how I'm gonna have my Superman Blue on the shelf. Is just sitting here like this, probably with his head a little bit down, like the first appearance, like his first artwork appearance, I think, with like the black background and everything. So yeah, I thought I'd share that, and I think it looks cool too. All right, and then here's the final figure of the wave, which is Plastic Man. So how I first got introduced to Plastic Man was through Batman Brave and the Bold. That's how I'm familiar with Plastic Man initially, and then he's made a bunch of appearances outside of that. Like, yeah, one of the first levels in Lego Batman 3 you play as Plastic Man, I think one of the first levels anyway. I remember him being predominant in Lego Batman 3 for one of the missions. He's pretty cool. You get the stretchy arms. I was disappointed when I heard they weren't going to be bendable. Like, I thought that was going to be such an obvious thing for them to do, but it's not. But they are a bendy plastic, but they are not bendable. Like, they're like a soft plastic, so you can bend them, but they don't really stay. You can, like, if you really kind of force them, they'll kind of stay for a little bit. Like if I do that, you can see. But I would be cautious about how you do that, because it could bruise the plastic and you'll get those ugly white marks everywhere. But they do bend a significant. Don't. I'm really abusing figures today. I'm surprised none of them are broken. But yeah, if I really hold on to the arm joint so it doesn't pop off. But yeah, you can see right there that they do bend significantly. So it's not terrible. You do have to push them, but they do get in some ways that you would kind of want. But yeah, that's just one of the things here. Something I don't like about this figure, though, I am really not a big fan of this head sculpt. This head sculpt is, in my opinion, one of the worst smiling heads. People make fun of things like the Superman smile, the Rebirth Superman smile, and the DC Classic Superman smile, which I just showed you that figure. Yeah, DC Classic Superman. But like, this is this is horrible. I hate this smile. Like, look at how they did the teeth. These teeth are horrible. They look atrocious. If you kind of stand back, they look fine. Or, well, like this if they're blurry. But like, they look kind of alright. And I would have preferred if they didn't have like the glass sort of shine in his eyes, but I don't mind that. That's not a big issue for me. But like, this smile is terrible. That's why I usually just have him with this head sculpt, because this feels a lot more like Plastic Man to me, and I like to have him on my shelf with like the League, and he's looking over like Superman and Batman's shoulders like this, kind of just looking down on him. But yeah, this is a lot more expressive of a face. Well, it's both are very expressive, and I appreciate that. But this one feels a lot more like Plastic Man, like his personality, to me. And yeah, I do like this head sculpt a lot, and it's very appreciated. Another kind of sore thing about this figure is the ugly neck. You can kind of get rid of it with some poses, and it's not like the core focus in some poses as well. I think the other head fits better, if I remember right. Let me try to switch it out here. You still get that dark gap, but I do feel like it does fit better. But like, if you have him looking down, you're not going to really see it. But that does suck, and it's a very thin peg in there for Plastic Man. It is almost begging you to break the figure. and that sucks. I would have preferred if they made the peg thicker so it doesn't feel like it's gonna break every time you put something in. It doesn't really feel like that though to me with this figure, but it is very thin, so I would be very cautious when you're putting the heads in. But I'm a roughhouser myself, so I'm very rough and it hasn't broken on me yet. But do be careful about that. Something cool about this though, so this is using the Blue Beetle body, which I am not a big fan of. Like I have mentioned earlier, I've reviewed the DC Classic Hal Jordan. And something I was not a big fan of was the lack of sculpting on this guy. It felt like there was barely any sculpting and everything felt printed. But with Plastic Man here, they actually went through the effort of like actually raising things and putting the effort in the sculpt. So like you have the straps here in black, they're actually sculpted on. They're not painted on. You can see how they fit on there. And then the tights are actually raised compared to the skin. If you're wondering, they are molded in the skin tone and the red is painted on, so be careful when you're touching the red parts not to scrape the paint or anything. So just a caution for that. It's just very cool to see some sculpting with this body because I've seen it get very plain and very lazy with the painting. Like Nightwing looked terrible with the painted details, and it would have been better if he was sculpted. But this is a Build-A-Figure, so they better put some effort in and they get some feeties. So when talking about articulation with this guy, so in terms of the head, you don't really get anything up, and then down you get a significant amount due to the neck articulation. Then in terms of the abs, you get this much back, so that does help with the neck articulation. So that is cool. The crunch is decent. If I really push it here, you get a decent amount. Not the greatest, but you know, not terrible. And then combined with the neck, he can look almost directly down. For the shoulders, you get this much up on this side and this much up on that side. So full T-pose on both sides, so that's very good. You're not supposed to get that much posability out of the arm, but like I mentioned earlier, you can bend it and kind of get your own articulation out of it, kind of. There is some weird sculpting though on the hand, like these two hands are fused together for some reason. I don't know what the explanation for that is, but it's just weird to me. And then the other hand, you have the little hoop thing that people were complaining about, and I'm not a big fan of it either myself. You get this much splits, so there's that. Oh, I never did mention for any of the figures the thigh. Oh, darn. Oh, well, but yeah, you get this much. It's very crunchy. Most McFarlane figures don't have a crunch with the thigh, but yeah, it doesn't move out too much. This is how much it goes out, and then in is that much. So, yeah, very crunchy though. That's weird. Then in terms of up, you get that much, decent amount up there. And then for the bend in the knee, you get that much. Swivel as well, if I move the foot in the correct way. So there's that, and then how many clicks do we get? We get, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good, 4 clicks. I would have liked if the belt was kind of molded and sculpted instead of just painted, but I can deal with that. I can deal with that being painted. If this was painted instead of being sculpted, I would have been unhappy. Oh yeah, also it's molded on the back too, it's sculpted. So there's that. You get the plastic back, but yeah, cool figure though. I'm happy I got this way for Plastic Man. I was excited about him. He didn't look great in photos, but I thought I'd give him the chance, and I did want the rest of the wave. And yeah, like this thing looked horrible to me in photos, and is not the greatest in person, but you know, I can look over it because how funny he is. Like I can get him into some pretty cool poses here. Like I can get him like that. Right there, kind of jumping at you with his plastic things. Then you can get like a plastic landing here, like a superhero landing. So that's cool. Very posable though. I'm happy with this guy. I think he's worth the $75 to get the whole wave because you get the 3 other figures too, and then you get this bonus Plastic Man. That's pretty cool. Would I have liked to get the Aquaman for the regular arms? Yeah, sure, but like I said, I didn't have a place for them, and you know, $75 for 4 figures, I don't mind it. Well, $80 with tax, but still, cool figure though. I'm happy I got him, and yeah, And I did mention how I first saw how I first saw Plastic Man on Batman Brave and the Bold. So here he is with Nightfall Batman. This is the closest thing we have to a Brave and the Bold Batman I can think of, and it's the only blue Batman I own, so got to put it in here. So my overall thoughts on this wave are they're all great figures in my opinion, maybe besides the Batman, but they all are very cool. They're very colorful. Like you got blue and white, green, black and white, red skin tone, red, yellow, black, and then you got black and yellow here. So they're very poppy figures. And then if you got the Aquaman, you get like the black, green, and silver. So very poppy wave. I think these will stand out on your shelf too, especially Plastic Man and like Superman Blue because of how bright he is. He's just gonna stand out everywhere. But like, yeah, I think all these are worth your money in my opinion. Like I said, maybe besides the Batman, because his issues I thought kind of ruin him a little bit. But he does look good in most lighting, and he is very imposing. So if you like a good imposing Batman, I think he's gonna work for you. Yeah, I think these are worth your money. They each pose well. Like I said, besides the Batman, I keep repeating that. But yeah, if you're a big JLA fan of the 90s or in just DC in general and you need a Batman, you like a different Superman, you like John Stewart too, and then you like Plastic Man, then you need a new Aquaman, I think this wave's going to work for you. And I think you'll like it. They each come with a decent amount of accessories. I'd say, like I said with him, he could have used a power battery, I'd say. That's the only thing I would include with him, since he has like a gripping hand too. And yeah, I enjoy this wave a lot. I think you will too. And yeah, that's my thoughts. And yeah, have a nice day, night, or wherever you are. Have a good time.